So tonight we're going to talk with Scott Thompson about his Academy Award nominated film Nova Initia. How do you pronounce that?
Nova Initia. That's how you
Nova
pronounce it.
Initia. Okay. So Scott, let's talk about some of the shots in your movie. Now I know in the opening scene you had some effects using plants. There were trees and grass. And how did you go about doing the plant effects in this piece?
How it works is I was using a program called Maya, and what you do is you create a plane, and the plane is made up of polygons. And these polygons you can actually go in and say make paintable. So when you do that, you have a virtual paintbrush, if you will, that you can paint grass and textures.
Like you have a paintbrush with plants that are growing from it as you make your stroke.
Yes, correct. You're able to do test renders, which allows you to kind of see how the animation's going based off of your camera that you use within the program.
Cool. So it's true three-dimensional grass and trees that you generated using Maya.
Yep.
And they exist in 3D space, so the camera could actually move around them and change perspective, and all the perspective would work correctly.
Yep.
Very cool. So one of the main features of your project is that it's all done with silhouettes. We don't get any sense of lighting on the characters themselves. So how did you get that effect, and did that cause any problems on particular shots that made it difficult to figure out how to stage something where silhouetting was difficult?
Well, there's a lot of challenges that you have to look for with silhouettes and green screening people out. I know that with green screening, you don't want a color shirt that's really close to the color that your green screen is, because when you go to cut them out, which is a process called chroma keying, actually start to cut the person out when you do it. Silhouettes, they're completely black, so you don't want any leftover clothing showing, and we actually ran into something I didn't really plan originally, and that was jewelry is something that, catching the light, even if the room's pretty dark, just a little bit of light can shimmer and catch on jewelry, and then all of a sudden you have kind of a hot spot in your silhouette.
And then you have to mat that out.
Yep.
Something that cinematographers worldwide understand is that you can reach an international audience and transcend language barriers simply by removing dialogue from your film. And that's what you did. So what kind of issues did you deal with having to tell a story without the use of dialogue?
When I started Nova Initia, I really wanted to tell this story without dialogue. And some of the challenges that you deal with is, how do you get that point across? And great directors and cinematographers will say, show the story, don't tell the story. So in order to do that, you really have to plan out your camera shots well. And I kind of looked at some past silent films.
One of the shots in your film has the two parents sitting at a table discussing how they're going to pay for their son's surgery. Did you have challenges with the silhouettes in those characters, trying to figure out the use of positive space and negative space?
Yeah, so with that shot, I wanted to have the mother come in and open up the letter, but I wanted to actually have the audience be able to see what they were seeing, where, a lot of the previous shots, you're kind of getting interpretations of what they look like, but I really wanted the audience to see this bill. There's a quick over-the-shoulder shot that I have of the mom holding the letter, or the bill that has, the estimated cost for the surgery. I actually had to go in and hand draw out a still frame.
And when you say you did a hand drawing of a still frame, you're saying you traced around the contours of a freeze frame from the live action.
Yep, so I figured where exactly I wanted the camera to be, took a single frame into, I think it was actually Illustrator that I took it into, used what they call the pen tool, and basically traced out the actor, and then used that in her stead.
Cool.